The plate appears on the back step at 12:02 a.m. 4 bomboloni, still warm, powdered sugar white against the cold metal. No knock first, no footsteps going, and away down the alley. No voice, just the plate sitting there in the dark as if someone had been counting her hours and decided tonight was the night to make their presence known. Kesha Delaney stares at it for 3 full seconds. Then, she steps back inside and keeps dancing. Her hips move first. They always do. Her shoulders follow, and the cool jazz from the shelf radio above the dry pantry finds her and pulls her between the prep station and the bread rack, past the bread rack, walk-in cooler and back again. Arms loose, eyes soft, moving the way a person moves when there is no audience and nothing needs to be kept in check. The kitchen holds the whole weight of the day. Coffee and powdered sugar and bleach and old grease and the sweetness that never fully leaves a kitchen with this. Much history. Not at midnight. Not in winter. The refrigerators hum low. The clock above the prep station ticks. The faucet near the utility sink drips once, waits, drips again, slow and stubborn as old guilt. The dining hall beyond the clase, pass-through is dark. The front doors are locked. Nobody in this building but her. This is what she looks like when she thinks the world has stopped watching. Hi viewers, I have to stop right here and ask you something real. Has anyone ever been caught completely in your own world? Dancing, singing, just being fully yourself before you had any time to get your walls back up? Tell me in the comments what that felt like. I want to read every single one. Her right hand lifts with the melody. She turns in a slow circle and her palm brushes the blank outside of her apron pocket on the way. Inside, 2 Band-Aids and a hospital bill folded to the size of a prayer card for $2,218. She knows the number without unfolding it. She presses her palm flat against the pocket, brief, firm, like checking a lock she already knows is holding, and releases. She passes the bread rack. She passes the walk-in cooler door. The back of her neck goes cold. Not the refrigerator draft. Not the vent above the back door. A different kind of cold. The specific weight of a room that was empty a moment ago and had stopped being empty. Her feet stop. The doorway between the kitchen and the main dining hall is dark. She looks at it, just dark. And then, not just dark. A shape inside the shadow. Large, still. A man in a travel coat. Standing in the dark. The way someone stands when stillness is a skill they were taught and not something that came naturally to them. He has not moved. He has not spoken. He is simply there. The bomboloni are still warm on the back step. The clock reads 12:07 a.m. Somebody left food at her door without making a sound. Somebody is watching her from the dark. Kesha Delaney has not yet understood those two. Things share the same face. His eyes find the Saint Metal first and stay there 4 full seconds longer than a stranger's. Enzo Moretti stands in the shadow of to the kitchen doorway, and he is reading this woman the same way he reads a family ledger. Not from the headline but from the margins, from the small things that don't know they're being seen. The Saint Metal, thin gold chain, worn flat against the collarbone from years of sitting there. A medal for Street Jude, patron of impossible causes. A man like Enzo knows what a person carries that kind of thing for. It is not decoration. It is need. He moves his eyes down. The denim jacket over her kitchen uniform is faded at both elbows in a specific way. The kind of wear that only comes from years of leaning against counters, against sinks, against the hard edges of things that never gave. The jacket smells like something even from here, across the kitchen. He picks up the ghost of it, something floral and old, like perfume from someone who is no longer around to put it on. The jacket has not been washed. He can tell. She doesn't intend to wash it. He can tell that too. Her boots are 3 years past new. The left heel is worn at an angle. Her nails are short, unpolished, and clean. Her edges are laid neat, and her hair is wrapped at the back. She is not dressed for anyone in this kitchen at midnight. She is dressed by her own standard, which is clearly not a low one, and the contrast between her care and this industrial space is so sharp it registers like a question mark. He reaches into his coat pocket, a receipt folded twice, worn at the crease. The name at the top, Delaney Kitchen Collective, established 2019. He has been pulling on this vendor thread for 6 days. Coded payments, irregular margins, accounts that don't explain themselves cleanly. He expected the thread to lead somewhere expected. A warehouse, a ledger room, a man in a suit, behind a closed door. He did not expect it to end here, in a kitchen after midnight with a woman dancing in a jacket that carries someone else's perfume. He turns the receipt over in his fingers. He reaches for his phone with his other hand to call the name into his analyst. His thumb finds the contact. He looks at the screen. He looks back at her. He puts the phone in his pocket without pressing call. For the first time in 6 days, Enzo Moretti has decided not to pull the thread. Not yet. He doesn't fully understand why, and that alone is worth paying attention to. What he doesn't know yet is that the thread is about to pull itself. Kesha is already flat on her back under the utility sink when the shift really begins to fall apart. She is 12 inches off the floor in the gap between the cabinet base and the drain pipe, wrench overhead, a flashlight clenched between her back, teeth, and the drip hitting the center of her forehead every 4 seconds. The maintenance request for this sink has been submitted twice in 11 days. Both times, no response. Kesha's rule is simple. If it fails twice, she fixes it herself. She has fixed the walk-in cooler compressor, 2 fuse boxes, a loading dock latch, and an industrial dishwasher that the general manager once called completely irreplaceable. She fixed the dishwasher with a rubber gasket she ordered online for $7.80. It has run clean for 4 months. The wrench turns, the drip stops. She crawls out from under the sink, dry and unhurried, and finds Marcus Thibodeau slumped against the bread rack with a phone crushed to his ear and the particular face of a man watching something unravel in real time. Payroll. Glitched. His mouth shapes the words without sound. Direct deposits didn't go through. People are blowing up the line. Kesha crosses to him in 4 steps. She lifts the phone from his hand without asking. The voice on the other end is a vendor processor named Dale. And Dale is clearly having the worst Tuesday of in his professional life. She doesn't let him stay there. She gives him the backup processor number, memorized from the green card taped inside the supply closet, 3rd shelf, left side. She gives him the emergency pay cash pin. She tells him exactly what to do in exactly what order. Dale calls back in 11 minutes. Deposits clear by midnight. Marcus looks at her the way people look at things they don't have a category for. She hands him his phone. Eat something, she says. She moves back to the register and slides a folded envelope deeper behind it, thick with 4 months of careful saving. She does not explain it to him. The kitchen's finances have been making a sound she knows, the kind a structure makes when something load-bearing is starting to give. The envelope is for when she's right about what's coming. 3 minutes later, the manager's door swings, open hard. Kesha, his voice is stripped of everything. His face is the face of a man who has already made peace with bad news and is now delivering it. Enzo Moretti's people finalize the vendor closures. Next week. 77 positions. She does not react, not outwardly. The number drops into her chest, like something thrown from a height. 77 people who showed up every single day. She turns back to the counter. She puts both hands flat against the cold steel. She stares at the wall above the prep station. The faucet under the sink is fixed and perfectly silent, and it is the quietest thing in the room. She is thinking. She is always thinking. And when Kesha Delaney thinks, she is already 3 steps into a plan, which is why this kitchen has not collapsed on her watch. Not once. Not ever. Not yet. Enzo Moretti's phone lights up in his coat pocket at 11:58 p.m. He already knows what it is. His senior director has been waiting on the authorization form for the vendor closures. 77 names, each one tied to a contract that will not survive the audit. His legal team ran last week. The form is already drafted. All it needs is his signature. He has been carrying it since this morning and has not opened it once. He rounds the corner into the kitchen service hallway and stops. He sees her before she sees him. She is dancing, not performing, not moving to be watched, moving the the way a person moves when they are completely alone and the music has gotten into their bones and there is nothing left to manage. Her eyes are almost closed. Her hands hang loose. The jazz from the shelf radio is pulling her between the prep station and the bread rack like a current, and she is following it without resistance, without any of the compression he has watched people carry in rooms he owns. Enzo Moretti has walked through 38 kitchens in the last 4 years. He has watched negotiations fall apart, watched people perform calm while their hands gave them away, watched rooms full of lawyers pretend to be certain. He is exceptionally good at knowing the difference between what is real and what is constructed. What this woman is doing right now is the most real thing he has seen in a very long time. He stands completely still. Something is shifting behind his eyes. Not attraction in the simple sense, but something structural, like a wall he had assumed was permanent, has just revealed a door he didn't know was there. He takes one step forward. The floor gives a sound. She hears it. The dancing stops in a single beat. She turns, unhurried, and her eyes find his across the kitchen. She does not look startled. She looks like a woman who has decided not to be startled by anything life sends through a door. A full second passes. Kitchen's closed, she says. I'm aware. He produces his identification and sets it on the counter between them. Enzo Moretti. I own the building. She looks at the ID. She looks at the clock. She looks back at him. At midnight. I'd like to discuss the vendor contract situation. Mr. Moretti. She picks up a cloth from the counter and moves past him toward the walk-in cooler. Calm and unhurried. Not a single adjustment in her pace. You don't get to decide what I carry. And you don't get to decide when I carry it. She opens the walk-in door. Come at 9. I'll have coffee ready. The door closes behind her. Enzo Moretti stands alone in the kitchen. The radio plays. The clock reads 12:03 a.m. He has introduced himself, placed credentials on the Prinant counter, and been redirected to a morning appointment by a woman in a denim jacket who moved past him like he was furniture. He reaches into his coat pocket. His fingers find the authorization form. He does not open it. The corner of his mouth moves. Not quite a smile, but something close enough to one that, if anyone had been watching, they would have noted it and remembered it later. The voicemail hits the kitchen's landline speaker at 11:32 p.m. on a Wednesday. Kitchen is mid-close. Steam trays being wiped down, the radio on low, and then the machine picks up and the voice of a woman named Priya fills the room. This is Priya Vinod, investigative desk at the Courier. I've been working a public records request tied to vendor contracts in the warehouse district for 2PA2, 40 days. The margins don't reconcile. We go to print on Friday unless I hear otherwise. You can reach me until Thursday at 6. The machine beeps. The message ends. Marcus looks at Kesha. Kesha looks at the machine. She does not. Let him see what that lands like. Now, here is what I need you to understand, because what Kesha does not know yet, and what Priya Vinod with her meticulous spreadsheet has not yet seen, is what that ledger actually contains. The ledger has existed for 11 months. It is not in the kitchen, and it is not in any office. Enzo Moretti's name is attached to it. It is in a waterproof bag, inside a box labeled Dry Goods, Inventory 2021 inside a freight storage crate, in the 4th sublevel of a commercial facility, 6 blocks east of the Point restaurant. His people are careful. Enzo is always careful. Priya found the left column of the ledger. That column is real. Vendor payments, irregular timing, unfamiliar receiving names, amounts that have no matching invoices on record, $500 here, $1,200 there, flowing through food vendor, accounts that were never set up to hold them. From the outside, looking only at the left column, it looks exactly like what it looks like. What Priya Vinod Raman has not found, what her public records request did not reach, is the right column. The right column is names, not business names, people's names, kitchen, workers, delivery drivers, prep cooks, line staff, 51 individuals who lost their positions when the previous management group dissolved operations and closed accounts and left with everything legally theirs to take. Workers who fell through every system built to catch them. Workers who received unmarked envelopes of exactly enough money to cover rent or a copay or a car repair that stood between them and employment. Payments recorded only by date and nickname. T. Williams, November, $800. C. Robito, December, $1,200. The Murray Group, January, $2,400. These are not laundering margins. These are pensions. The system stopped paying. These are people somebody quietly decided not to abandon. Moved through channels that left no clean paper trail because no clean paper trail existed for doing what needed doing. The authorization initials at the bottom of the right column belong to Enzo Moretti. His team is careful. He is always careful. But careful and invisible are not the same thing. At 11:47 p.m. on Thursday, Kesha is in the back storage corridor looking for a stock order that did not arrive. She moves 3 crates. She moves a 4th. Inside, a waterproof bag. Inside the bag, a ledger. She unfolds it on the prep station under the kitchen light. She reads the left column. Her chest tightens. She reads the right column. Her chest tightens again, completely differently. She turns to the Lome. Last page. In the margin, beside a payment dated 6 weeks ago, a name she has known since she was 9 years old. She reads it twice. Her hands start shaking. Kesha Delaney does not shake. She has not shaken in years. She is shaking now. And the question that is forming in her chest, the one that is going to change everything, is not who put the money here. It is why the money that went to that name was never mentioned to her. The Bomboloni are back at the back door on Tuesday night. No knock, no note, same paper bag, same powdered sugar along the way and edges. She finds them at 11:30 p.m., stands in the doorway holding the bag for 1 full minute, then eats one right there. The sugar coats her fingers and she does not wipe them clean. The alley is empty, and she stares into it like it owes her an explanation. He remembered. She had said it once, one sentence about her, Nonna's Bomboloni, during a supply order exchange 3 weeks ago. One sentence he had no reason to hold on to. He held on to it anyway. That fact alone tells her something she is not yet ready to look at directly. Wednesday, a text from an unsaved number. The faucet under the second prep station has the same issue as the one you fixed. A repair is arranged for Thursday morning. She reads it. On her break, she sets her phone face down on the table. She does not respond. Friday, the rattling above the walk-in cooler goes completely silent. She does not ask who arranged it. Saturday, Tanya Arsino drops into the seat across from her at the Claiborne Diner with the face of a woman who has been holding a conversation in for 4 days straight. What does he want, Kesh? No. Yes, you do. Tanya, you've got your thinking face. You only get your thinking face when something is happening that you want to happen. And you're too careful to say it out loud. Kesha holds her coffee mug with both hands. He remembered one sentence I said about my Nonna's Bomboloni 3 weeks ago. He went and found the exact same kind. Tanya sets her fork down with great, deliberate care. He found the right Bomboloni. I'm just saying, he pays attention. Kesha Lula Delaney. Her voice drops to something between reverent And completely undone, that man went and found the right bomboloni. That night, Kesha calls her mama, Lula. Lula's voice comes through the phone, warm and solid and steady. You decide what you can carry tomorrow, baby. Same words, always the same, always enough. She is still holding the phone when she finds the memo slipped under the kitchen door. Internal transfer, labeled emergency fund, stamped with a street address she has known since she was 7 years old. Her grandmother's address. She does not know yet whether Enzo Moretti has been quietly protecting the people she loves or has known about them far longer than she ever gave him reason to. The city inspector is already inside the kitchen when Kesha arrives at 9:47 a.m. His name is Franklin Cole. He has a clipboard and the organized, practiced energy of a man executing someone else's instructions. He is not moving through the kitchen like a man looking for safety violations. He is moving like a man who already knows exactly what he intends to find. He finds it in 18 minutes. Ventilation hood clearance 2 centimeters outside updated code. A certification renewal 60 days past its window. Technical items that would require a specific licensed contractor and no fewer than 3 weeks to fully resolve. He informs Kesha that operations will be suspended pending review and does not look at her when he says it. She is completely calm. What is the appeal timeline? He gives no clear answer. He leaves. At 2:17 p.m., Enzo Moretti makes one phone call. By 4:30 p.m., the 17 p.m., consulting firm providing Franklin Cole's outside income receives termination notices from 3 separate companies inside the same holding group. No threats, no meetings. A quiet, complete, and irreversible removal of every financial an arrangement that made Franklin Cole's cooperation worth having in the first place. By the following morning, the suspension is reclassified as a formal warning. The ventilation review is reassigned to a different inspector, with no traceable outside income. Kesha learns it from Marcus, who heard it from the shift manager, who found a lawyer's business card at the bottom of the kitchen, recycling bin with handwriting on the back that is not the manager's. She finds Enzo in the dining room at 7 p.m. You stepped in, she says. A supplier. Arrangement was resolved. Why? It was creating operational exposure across several properties I manage. Mr. Moretti, she looks at him directly. If you want to help me, say so. Don't move things in the dark and expect me not to notice. A long pause. Something shifts across his face. Not warmth, but an opening, like a door that was always there and has never once been used. I can't tell you. Not yet. She hears the word yet. The way you hear a lock turn from the other side of a door. She goes back to the kitchen without another word. She does not tell him she is already counting the days until yet becomes something he has no more cover to hide behind. The newspaper is already on the counter when Kesha walks in at 6:14 a.m. Marcus set it there and stepped back. The headline runs across the top fold in bold. Local food vendors linked to irregular transactions. Workers' community demands answers. Priya Vinod Raman's byline. 3 photographs below the fold. A table of transaction figures. Third, photo from the left, the exterior of this kitchen, the street address above the front door clearly visible in the frame. Kesha reads the full article standing, with her coat still on. She reads it twice. She folds the paper precisely in half and places it under the register. By Friday, the manager receives a formal subpoena. By Saturday, a community group has formed on the sidewalk outside with signs and a portable speaker running full volume in the cold morning air. By Sunday, Councilwoman Obi stands at a press podium in a rust-red blazer, calling for a complete financial audit of every vendor contract tied to warehouse, district properties. Her voice is measured. Her language is precise. She looks directly into the cameras the entire time. Monday morning, an envelope appears, taped to Kesha's locker. No return address. Inside, one type line. Tell the truth, or we make this worse. She reads it once, tucks it in her jacket pocket, beside the hospital bill, and goes back to the prep station. Enzo Moretti's company issues a press statement by noon. Kesha reads it on her phone in the bathroom on her break. The statement is thorough and controlled, and denies all financial misconduct. Near the bottom, one sentence describes certain vendor accounts as having been used to assist with staff transition services. It is a sentence crafted by lawyers to be technically accurate while explaining nothing at all. The community group reads that line and hears exactly what it sounds like when a powerful organization is managing a story instead of telling one. Councilwoman Obi holds a public forum Monday evening at the community center. Kesha sits in the fourth row and does not move for 90 minutes. She listens to the councilwoman describe service workers, kitchen employees, and women who have been inside these buildings for years. Women exactly like Kesha, as unwitting and participants in a financial scheme built by men with resources and access. The language is sharp and aimed, and lands precisely where it was pointed. It is not entirely wrong. That is the part that is hardest to sit with. In the parking lot, after the meeting, her manager intercepts her. He is holding a cardboard box with both arms. His office key sits on top of the stack. His face is the face of a man who has already made his decision and is giving her one clear chance to make hers. You can walk, Kesha. I'm telling you once. Take the jacket. Take what you've been saving behind the register. Walk. Whatever is coming next is bigger than this kitchen and everyone in it. He means every word. She can see it. She looks at the box. She looks at the kitchen entrance behind him. Through the door from the parking lot. She can still hear the radio playing. She turns around and walks back inside. She does not know yet what walking back through that door is going to cost her. But some decisions don't wait for certainty. Some decisions are simply what you are. The yellow legal pad has 23 pages of notes. By the time the clock above the prep station reads 4:52 a.m., Kesha has been at the counter since 1 a.m. The ledger opened flat in front of her, Lula's voice running low on speakerphone for the last hour. Her mama does not ask questions. She breathes steadily through the phone, while Kesha works, steady enough that Kesha can borrow it and use it. The left column is real. She has accepted that. The payments moved through vendor accounts, with no clean paper trail, and she now understands exactly how a reporter with a spreadsheet and 40 days of public records found them and named them what they looked like from the outside. But the right column, 51 names, kitchen, workers, delivery drivers, line cooks, prep staff, every one of them from a closure that left them with nothing the official systems were built to catch. $800 in November, $1,200 in December, $2,400 in January for a group of 5. Each payment sized to exactly what that person needed. Not rounded, not generic, specific, like someone had been watching each one individually and sending exactly enough, exactly when. She turns to page 4. One line near the bottom stops her completely. L. Delaney, April, $1,500. Her mama's name. Her mama's address on Dauphine Street. Her mama, who received that payment and never once mentioned it to her daughter. Kesha sits still for 2 full minutes. Then she picks up her phone. Enzo answers on the second ring. It is 2:14 a.m. on his end. The right column, she says. Tell to me what it is. A long pause. It was the only way to reach them. You could have been transparent. Every official structure had already been shut down. There was no clean channel left. The workers had no recourse, and no one was coming. His voice is level, and she hears the weight living under the peep, levelness. So I built a channel that worked. And you let it look like what it wasn't. I did not anticipate the reporter. A pause. Yes, I know that. She closes the legal pad. She goes to the hearing. Tanya Arseno sits in the 3rd row. Lula is on mute in Kesha's coat pocket, the way she always is when something large is unfolding. Kesha takes her seat at the long table in the denim jacket, nails short and unpolished, saint metal at her throat. Not one single thing adjusted for the room. And she does not testify as a victim. She testifies as a witness to a complicated truth. That $60 in a margin is not the same as $60,000 in an offshore account. That when systems fail, the people who step into that gap, are not the criminals in the story. That what looks like misconduct sometimes looks that way because the systems that would have made it clean were the same systems that walked out the door first. She is 3 minutes into her statement when the clerk reads a new name from a submitted exhibit into the official record. Councilwoman Obi's name. The room shifts in one single breath. The councilwoman's composure changes by exactly 1 degree, not guilt, but the precise expression of a person whose own story has just developed a public complication they did not prepare for. Kesha does not look at her. She finishes her sentence. She folds both hands on the table. The ledger is going to do more than anyone in this room expects. Kesha already knows this. What she does not know yet is whether what comes next will break the thing she has spent years building, or finally give it somewhere solid to stand. The outcome is not a movie ending. No arrests, no headlines with raised fists on courthouse steps. What happens is slower and more permanent. A financial oversight board is mandated across all district vendor contracts. 3 contracts are formally restructured with transparent terms. A worker protection clause is written into every new commercial lease in the district. A community audit committee is established. Kesha is appointed to it, not because she asked, but because 5 separate people submitted her name without coordinating with each other. Enzo Moretti establishes a formal emergency worker fund through a community development nonprofit. No press release, no announcement. He sends Kesha the full paperwork by courier on a Thursday morning. She opens it in the kitchen, reads it through completely, sets it face down on the counter, then picks it back up. At midnight, he is there. He brings nothing this time. No paperwork, no professional reason. He sits at the end of the prep counter on a stool that is slightly too small for him, and he looks genuinely uncertain, which is the most she has trusted him since the night she first heard the air in this kitchen change. She sets a plate down in front of him, 4 bomboloni, powdered sugar. He picks one up, he takes a bite. The sugar goes everywhere, and he looks briefly, completely, honestly undone. And she laughs, a real one, the kind that lives low in the throat and asks nobody's permission. The radio plays, the same slow jazz, still moving through the room, like it owns the place. She begins to move through the kitchen the way she always has, between the prep station and the bread rack. And after a long moment, Enzo gets off the stool. He steps onto the kitchen floor and moves with her, clumsy, present, trying. The clock above the prep station reads 12:07 a.m. The powdered sugar has settled on the stainless counter. The city outside is doing whatever cities do. Compassion without systems is fragile. Systems without compassion are cruel. What lasts is what you build at the place where the two finally meet. Imperfect, honest, and here. If this story moved you, if Kesha stayed with you, subscribe to this channel right now and turn on your notifications so you never miss a story like this one. Share it with someone who deserves to hear it, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your words here reach people you will never meet and inspire more than you know. We will see you in the next one.